Hello, fair folk. My name is Airili, and I have to apologize to everybody. I have been so heavily procrastinating this episode. I hit a creative block, and I don't know why. I am trying to get over it. I think I have. I have exciting news. I'm going to be starting 2 new projects alongside this vanilla server. So the first one's going to be a hardcore world. Yeah, pretty excited about it. It's going to be intense. As far as like me recording this right now, I have survived something like 150 days at least in it, and I will be putting up that episode soon. I'm trying to finish up the build for that episode. It's quite a large build for a first build, but that is a little bit how I roll. I didn't really do that much with this server, but I have done that in the past as well. And the second one is also very exciting. I'm going to be doing a modded Minecraft server, and I already know what I'm going to build in it. The server just opened up tonight as of me recording this, and I am technically recording this intro way after the contents of the videos are all done, so I apologize for that. That's not normally how I roll. But what we're going to be building today is a beautiful sniffer farm, like a functional farm, but beautiful. And I'm very excited about it. It's gonna look phenomenal. I can't wait to show it to you. But also we have a little trip to the end to do, and I am gonna be soloing the end dragon. And here's a fun little tidbit: it's my first time fighting it, so I'm nervous. Yeah, let's get to this. Woo! Am I a professional YouTuber now? I think I am. Woo! After that, I got started gathering materials, and this is pretty much the only clip I have of that because most of my materials were already in chests. I started my build by replicating the dome that I had on the docks, every gap I had in the roof, and then I moved on to building this very lovely looking fountain. I wanted a nice water source for my sniffers. I knew it would affect the productivity of the farm, but this was really more about aesthetic rather than production. This was one of the few parts of the project that I was confident I wanted to include, so that's why I started with it. You'll see me hop around quite a lot throughout this entire process. The next thing I started working on were these giant crystals that I sprinkled throughout the cave. I wanted them to be the light source for the cave instead of hiding like frog lights under moss carpets, which was an alternative. I wanted something that made this place feel magical and somehow ancient. I wanted it to feel like a good home for the sniffers. I started carving out nooks so that the sniffers could crawl into them and kind of hide away a little bit. They couldn't dig there per se, but that was okay. Then I started working on the grass and such that the sniffers would actually be able to dig into. Sniffers have a wide range of blocks that they can dig into. Unfortunately, the nether blocks do not get included in this, but I thought they added a lot to the build. After that, I took a break and moved on to the alley hopper deposit system, which is in that hole that all the sniffers are gathered in. It was such a pain to get them out of the way. I then made it so that they couldn't access the hole. I knew I wanted little arches for the sniffers to walk through in between the 2 sections between the track, and so I put in those. And then I started working on the ground a little bit more as I started to figure out kind of what sort of layout I wanted for the build. I determined about at this process that I wanted a couple small shelves for the sniffers to kind of climb onto and nest because they seemed to like the higher blocks as I was building. picked rooted and coarse dirt because I figured it would kind of add to the story of them nuzzling around in the dirt to try and find seeds. And then of course I made the little nesting areas at the ends of the shelf covered in moss carpet as a soft sort of blanket for them to lay on. After that, I got to work on adding glass because I got annoyed about the alleys flying around so much, and I wanted to see if that would actually do what I intended. Then I continued on the second and highest shelf, and I think I did a pretty good job with it. I sprinkled a lot of plants around the entire area. Grass, ferns, both of the warped nether plants as well as the vines. I did torch flowers, I did pitcher pods. Well, I guess I did the pitcher flowers. And then I also added cherry blossom flowers. And later, not in the time lapse, I also added dandelions for an extra pop of color. None of this build was officially planned out, so it was a lot of me just feeling my way around the project as I worked, and I think I actually struggled a lot with it because I only had a vague idea of what I wanted, and I wasn't really able to work it out in creative mode. I now have access to Lightmatica, and in the future my projects will go a lot smoother than this one did. I'm very excited because this was a hard project for me, and discovering the replay mod has been a gift. This is such an amazing clip. I'm very happy with it. I can't wait to have my work meet this level every time and continue to get better. I then added cherry blossom trees as well as the spore flowers because I wanted a whole bunch of particles to fly around the room and really add to the environment and the life of the area. Of course, this entire time while I was building, I was also breeding sniffers here and there. My idea with the paths is that there would be certain walks that the sniffers would take more often. I didn't actually base this on any of the paths the sniffers were making, but I figured it would kind of add to the story of the room, and there would be common thoroughfares for these ancient dinosaurs to be walking. My goal was to try to use plants that I thought may be around when the sniffers were around, and that's kind of why I went for a more mystical looking build, something that you wouldn't see in Minecraft just walking around. I also wanted to kind of blend the environment for the alleys as well, since they would also be locked in this cave with the sniffers doing their jobs. At the end of the room with the hopper deposit system, I added a large area for sniffers to nest. I wanted it to be a collective large area, but with some variance, so I was hesitant to add any shelves for this area. I just kind of played around with making it kind of a big spacious area for them to nest. It's not a particularly productive area, as I don't think they dig very well on dirt, but it was pretty nonetheless. Next, I added a custom azalea tree to really make the area pop, and then I proceeded to add a cherry blossom tree in this corner as well for the extra little petal particles, but as well as to add some extra color to this section of the room. It was looking quite bland. Then I began the process of figuring out how everything would look once I started to drop out all the torches. I knew I needed to light this place up so that unfriendly mobs wouldn't spawn. I didn't feature any of the texturing of the walls or ceiling in this video because, as it turns out, it was pretty boring to watch. So this is the end of the time lapse. night, so we don't usually see my first person view very often. I don't show it a whole lot. I'm looking to change that, but I wanted to appreciate all of the subscribers who joined following my sad aquarium video by individually adding each one to my sad aquarium. Unfortunately, I learned very quickly through this process. I don't know all the names of my subscribers due to the privacy settings on YouTube, so it can censor the names of people if they have their privacy settings set to not show up. And so I'm going to be appreciating people a little bit differently. I only have actually one subscriber named on this bunch of fish, but I appreciate every single one of you. So thank you so much for subscribing. It really means a lot to me. Every other subscriber has been my friends, and of course they are so meaningful to me, but there's a certain obligation that comes with subscribing when you're like someone who personally knows me, rather than when you're a complete stranger who's never met me. And so like I appreciate every single one of my subscribers, and here I am adding you all to my sad aquarium further show that. So here we go. Okay, so first on the list we have 05 Council. Thank you. Don't die, don't die. Ooh. Let's try that on not a stare. We have 05 Council. Thank you so much for your subscription. I really appreciate it. Yeah, there you go. We have Big Preach. Thank you. Thanks, Bunches. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thanks from the bottom of my heart. I'm so unbelievably grateful. With every subscription, my power grows. If you want to be a fish too, subscribe. And finally, I love all of my subscribers. Again, thank you guys so much for subscribing. It really, really means a lot to me. I can't wait to see you in the next video. If you revel in my chaotic self, please consider giving a like, a subscribe, or a comment. I like all three. My name is Airili, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!